the slums of Rouen in the French Empire, Amy grew up in an atmosphere of conflict and violence, and learned to conceal her feelings at a young age. Even though she maintains a continuous cynicism, she does care deeply inside, especially about Raphael, who taught her the rapier style. Amy is a fast, powerful, and surprising character that can drive her opponents crazy with her pokes and reverse mix-ups. She easily steals her opponent's turn with her multiple parries and ability to capitalize on their mistakes, and she is an elegant yet frustrating character to fight against if mastered due to all the matchup knowledge required. Amy is probably one of the most well-rounded characters in the game. With a unique system called perceptions, Amy gains in strength as the fight goes on. When she hits her opponent with 4 red roses, she gains the red rose perception, boosting her offense way higher. With red rose perception, she gains incredibly rewarding defensive tools like enhanced parries and lethal hits. With both, she has access to a terrifying 90 damage 12 frames CE, and arguably becomes the best character in the entire game. With her unique parries, one for each height of attack, Amy can easily get her turn back if the opponent is too predictable. Her parries are considerably improved with Right Rose Perception, granting her access to safe and dreadful lethal hits, more damaging and safer tools, and a larger active parry window on her parries. As though it was not enough, her parries get a resist impact property when she maxes out Red and Right Rose Perceptions. This new feature makes using Soul Charge against her a risky bet, as she can completely annihilate the activation and neutralize break attack and unblockable moves. Middle parry can be very good against simple opponents who uses 2A a lot to interrupt Amy, and high parry is good if your opponent likes to use AA, thinking Amy is punishable on block, when she is not. Amy essentially tries to put her opponent in a vortex of 50-50. Either you react after blocking one of her moves and take the risk of being parried, or you're too patient and she sends you into a vortex of parry mix-ups. Even though Amy doesn't rely on plus frames on block, her amazing evasiveness allows her to keep the pressure going even when she's negative on block. 3A and 4A have excellent tech crouch properties while being very fast. 3A is a safe 14 frame mid that tech crouches. It's plus 10 on counter hits, so it gives a free 6 BB into mix-ups. 4A, which gains the new extension with Red Rose Perception, 4AA, is a famous 16 frame low with an extremely good range and leaves you just at the right place to force your opponent to whiff. It's also 0 on hits, which makes it easily spammable. Even in the neutral, those tools are incredibly useful to catch the opponent and stop them in their movement, which gives the impression Amy constantly has the upper hand. It's also possible for Amy to endlessly switch between parries and pressure the opponent, similar to Maxi. If she gets the read on attempted interruptions, she can violently counter you for full combos. With all the improvements that White Rose Perception gives, you'll have to seriously think twice before trying to interrupt her. While being very evasive, Amy is also very fast. Her overall movement is good, but what makes her shine is the startup frames of her moves, and especially her fastest moves that are used extremely often. She has access to a 10 frame punish that is plus on hit, and even on block into her twirling stance Amaryllis spin. Thanks to this, her 10 frame punish is unquestionably the best in the entire game. She is with Xianghua the only character that can use a 12 frame CE at all times. It becomes even more powerful when she maxes out both perceptions. In fact, it does 90 damage, drains her opponent meter, restores hers, and restores 35% of guard stamina, no less.
Had enough.
As a result, her punishment tools are very good. While she has an excellent 10 frame punish move, she has excellent 14 frame and 16 frame moves too. With Right Rose Perception, 214B is an extremely good move at 14 frames. It tech crouches, has an amazing range to catch backsteppers, and gives a special stun that helps get Red Rose Perception, or does devastating damage for a 14 frame punish. At 16 frame, she has 666BA with Red Rose Perception. Besides dealing substantial damage, it also enables backturn setups leading to force blocks and outstanding mix-ups. As I said, Amy is a well-rounded character who has almost everything in her hands to dominate on the battlefield. Pretty impressive for a young girl in a delicate dress. Even though Amy is extremely powerful, I have to hugely emphasize she has to fight hard to reach her full potential, as she doesn't start the fight with all of her tools. This is as previously mentioned, because she has to build perceptions to firmly face her opponent. Although Rider's perception is slightly easier to get in Season 2, obtaining it still depends on air combos or Okizeme, while Rider's perception is much easier to get. So do not think Amy is totally broken. She was just designed around a power-up mechanics. If her opponent stops her in her path to getting roses, there's a high chance she eventually loses the match. As you would imagine it, Amy's range is medium at best. She does have moves with a great range for the type of swords she wields, but they won't help her if her opponent is too far away. Not as short as Shanghua's or Talim's, her range can be lacking, especially against opponents who are not faint-hearted about backwalking. This feature might be unappealing to players who don't want to commit to learning her, especially in SoulCalibur 6, where range can be an important part of your base character. Amy is a difficult character to play because all of her key tools can be more or less countered with matchup knowledge. Amy players will have to be creative to succeed, and her opponent will have to be anything but predictable to counter this. The more reckless you are facing her, the faster you'll die.
So weak.
Amy's changes in Season 2 would be considered very good, as she's the only character who didn't receive one single nerf, and instead, only buffs. The most notable changes are the addition of a new full crouch move, Full Crouch A+B, that enables double row stacking setups and slightly buffs her damage output when stacking roses, and the new resist impact property on her parries after getting Purple Rose Perception. She also got new transitions. Amaryllis Spin can now go into Shadow Evade, and can be cancelled into Crouch Guard. As it was a bit difficult to get Rider's Perception in Season 1, she got a new move extension that is safe and easy to do to stack white roses more efficiently. This move is essentially vital as 9K from SoulCalibur 5. This additional move finally made her 6AA string viable, as it previously had no mix-ups, so characters could just duck the third hit and punish her. Now, with the new extension, she can punish ducking opponents. On top of this, the move is also very good on block and -2, and it has an underrated tech jump property. Amy's Full Crouch game has also been buffed with a new transition into Amaryllis Spin from Full Crouch 1B, which enhances her poke and Full Crouch games. To complement this, Low Parry B is now positive on block, this move leaving her fully crouch. She now has some tools to make her Full Crouch game a bit scarier. Further, Amy now gains meter when she reaches Red Rose Perception, and she's a bit safer overall. For example, her 3BA is now safe on block. Yes, safe on block. Overall, Amy is an excellent and surprising character with a lot of tools to pressure and counter her opponent. By building up perceptions, Amy obtains more and more moves to play with. This feature makes her difficult to play at first and might eject some players who want to try her. But don't be discouraged. Always keep in mind the keyword is reward, as the more you know your opponent, the more satisfying your tools become. Amy has access to a huge variety of moves and has almost no flaws. All that being said, don't get too smart with your opponents. Amy's range is good enough to create the impression you're the king or the queen of the world, but characters with a better range are looking forward to wave punishing you. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up, comment in the comment section below, and share the video. It's hugely and shamelessly inspired by that blasted Salami, who makes excellent videos on YouTube about Tekken, and since no such content exists that I know of for SoulCalibur, I endeavor to follow in their footsteps. I hope to see you soon in my next video. Bye bye.